Hi, this is Brent Arnold, and today I want to talk about the tabbed application, the Flex Mobile template for Flash Builder 4.5. Let's go ahead and jump in. Let's open Flash Builder 4.5, choose File, choose New, and then choose Flex Mobile Project. Now, if you've watched my other tutorials, this is all very similar. In fact, I would encourage you to watch the basic View app, because the majority of the content will come from those, and I'm just going to kind of briefly review those. So again, check out the basic View-based Android app tutorials that I have on YouTube. So for this, we'll just call this tabbed application. Go ahead and choose Next. Now this kind of hangs off the bottom, but this is all the information we need. Let's uncheck BlackBerry tablet. We want Google Android, and for the application template we want to select tabbed application. Now permissions relate to things that you have to alert the user of when they install your app, so that they know, hey, this is going to use the camera, or hey, this is going to steal all your contacts, or hey, this is going to run the world from your app, you know, stuff like that. Okay, so technically you can't do that, but still, you know, as Pinky and the brain, you know, as the brain would say to Pinky, are you pondering what I'm pondering? And Pinky would say, have I ever pondered what you were pondering, brain? That's my favorite show, man. I remember when that came out. It was so awesome. All right, so we don't need to worry about that. For tabs, we do want to indicate however many tabs we want. So for this example, let's just go ahead and create a few. Let's say About, let's say Examples, Contact, and then we'll just call it Extra, right? I'm just making this up as I go. The point is that these represent the tabs that will show up at the bottom of the app. For the application settings, we want automatically reorient. So that means when we turn the device from portrait to landscape, the components will rearrange accordingly so that you see it in the new orientation. Full screen means we're going to hide the status bar, so we want to do that. Automatically scale means that when we put this on different devices, the components will have the same relative size, so that when you go from a low DPI to a high DPI, there's not this dramatic change in look to it. There's a lot more to it, but for now, this is what we're going to want to cover. Then finally, we're going to go ahead and click Finish. I know you can't see the button, but we just want to click Finish. And Flash Builder does its thing, and it keeps doing its thing, and here we go. Pops right in. And here we have the tabbed application, and we have the About view. Now, this is very similar to the ViewNavigator application. In fact, you can kind of tell that it's derived from the ViewNavigator application. Well, if you remember from my other tutorials, and if you haven't seen them, you better go check them out because it's free. You don't add child components to this component here, except that you have view navigators, and these view navigators specifically reference the tabs that show up at the bottom. So I'm going to click over here to Design View. We want to take a look at that, and let's just kind of make this fit. And here are the tabs that are at the bottom, right? Now you can have icons, you can do all sorts of stuff to that. That would be within here, within these tags. You know, we have an icon which you could reference. That way, you know, you can have an image with the tabs, make it look cool. Notice we have the 4 view navigators. Well, think of this as a collection. If you remember, because you've already watched my other tutorials now, because I told you to, the view navigator is a stack of views that you can then push or pop to switch between views. And the tabbed view navigator application is a collection of those view navigators. So each one of those could have multiple views. The other thing to note is that these can share the same views. And in fact, that's why when you look here, we have this folder that says views, and then we just have a pool of views, and that's where we would add more, and then you would just reference them. So like when you did push view, you would push in whichever view that you wanted to reference. Notice here that we have the first view, because again, the ViewNavigator itself does not have anything. It references the first view, which correspond here. All right, so go ahead and save this. Now, just for kicks and giggles, let's open each one of these and let's add a few components just so that we know that we've got stuff here. And I'm just going to start throwing things out just for the sake of it, because again, if you understand how to use a ViewNavigator, you could create however many views you want, and then you would be able to go from one view to the next, so that when you click a tab, you're in a new, it's like a new deck of cards, right? And so this deck of cards has however many views, and you're cycling through them, and then you switch to a new tab and you have a new deck of cards. Now you can have one view or you can have multiple views, but this let's just kind of think of how that works. And so I'll just say about me, and we'll just add that. Go ahead and contact view. Now here you could do all sorts of stuff. You could say, oh, I don't know, you could have like a text area, text, and we say, whoops, something goes here. Oh, and let's have the text input, and we'll say, just have a text input, right? All right, let's jump over to examples view. Maybe for examples view, you would want to have a list. So for example, I'll just kind of quickly go through creating a list. Again, check out my other tutorials. I've got the references for how to really hook up the list. So for here, we have an array collection, and inside the array collection, we have objects, and these objects represent data, and the types of data you could store with it. For example, let's say we have an example title is one element. Say that'll be what the list references in order what you see physically. And so you could say, you know, Android apps. We could have another object, example title. This one would be like iOS apps. You know, you could create your own portfolio. You could do all sorts of stuff. I'm just kind of throwing it out there so you have something to look at. In the next tutorial, we will build this and run it on the device. And for now, we're just going to quickly go through this. If I haven't said it enough already, check out the other basic view tutorials, because it's all related, right? Once you understand the ViewNavigator, you'll understand the tabbed application. Let's see, width, we want to set this to 100% because we want to fill the stage. Height is 100%. And then what, label field, is that what it's called? Yes. Example title. All right, let's take a look at that, see if we hooked it up right. Click the design view. And here you can see we have our list. Now, you can imagine that here I've just created 3 elements for my list. Well, I would need to create 3 more views so that when I clicked one of those, I could load that view. So that's something you could do. All right, now let's check out the extra view, and we'll just put a label. And we say, what is it? Text equals extra view. And let's go ahead and save that. Now, let's take a look at this in the desktop ADL. So here we're going to run on the desktop. We're going to just choose the Nexus 1. Go ahead and select Run. Now, this will launch the ADL, and of course, because of the way I'm recording this, it's smaller than the screen. So I'm going to switch this. I'm going to go rotate left. And remember, because we set this to be auto orient, notice how we can see everything here in this view. So for the tabs, I can click examples. And then again, you know, I've got my cool little list view. I haven't hooked these up so they don't do anything. But of course, you guys can do that. Oh, check this out. Check out what I did, and we'll fix that here in a second. And then finally, extra view. All right, let's go ahead and close that. So why, Brent, why, oh why, did this end up on top of each other? Well, the reason for it is that the layout, and it's called layout, what did we say? And then we want vertical layout, and we say padding. Let's add some padding. Padding top. This will kind of give us some space. We'll just say 10 pixels. All right. Whoops, I got to close the tag. Okay. See how that works? Now what we did, see, if I look at these others, let me go ahead and save this. If I look at these other views, notice that, for example, the examples view is a list, and we said width and height. Right now we have what we call absolute layout, and so what would happen is if I don't specify where these should fit, then they're going to be set at the same anchor point. So in order to get a layout of, say, vertical, we can set that to padding. Now, let's test this and see how that looks. All right, let's go ahead and switch this. Rotate left. Get that over here so you can see it. Examples, contact, something goes here, and extra. See how that works? All right. Very nice, very nice. Okay, in the next tutorial, I want to talk about some things that are specific to the tabbed applications, which are hiding and showing the tab bar. All right.